Today's video is about the pros and cons on if you should be buying a home in the last quarter of 2024 or if you should wait until spring of 2025. I've had 10 strategy calls over the last 2 weeks, so it's been a very common question. Many of them came to us from our YouTube channel here, so thank you everyone for that. Now, most ask whether they should be waiting until next year to buy a home and what were the pros and cons of doing so. So we went through all the pros and cons that we had thought of. And luckily, more recently, there's been some pretty big news that we're going to share with you guys later in this video, which makes it even more of a quandary if you should be buying now, wait and buy in 2025. Or maybe you should not buy at all. So with all of that out of the way, what are the pros and cons of buying a house in the last quarter of 2024? I'm Spencer Sue with eXp Realty. In the last 5 years, we've helped over 250 families with their moves in the Bay Area. So we have a lot of experience with data and strategy to the local Bay Area housing market. Let's go over the first one, and we talk about it all the time on this channel. We always recommend that you go against the grain. You should always be thinking about how are you doing things differently than everybody else. If everybody's trying to buy a house, maybe it's a good time to sell. If nobody's buying, maybe it's a good time to buy. Right now, as we get to the end of 2024, home prices have already declined from the peak of spring. There are less buyers in the current market, and a lot will be too busy caught up with the media blitz that's happening right now because of the election. Interest rates have declined significantly with jumbo loans in the mid fives and conforming rates, which are typically homes under $1.2 million, at the low sixes. These are 19 months low right now in anticipation of the Fed cuts at the time of this recording. There's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines because of this, because this is an election year. And most people don't know this because you sort of have to be in the industry to see these patterns and also understand the analytics of it. But typically people wait to buy a house during election season until after the election. There's always going to be a lot of uncertainty going on, and so people sit on the sidelines. Right now, to give you an idea, we're sitting at 7,662 homes right now in the big 5 counties of the Bay Area, which are those including San Mateo, Santa Clara, Alameda, San Francisco, and Contra Costa County. So the reality is we have plenty of homes for people to choose from. So why is this a pro? Well, if everyone's sitting on the sidelines, that means you have way less competition if you're deciding to buy a house right now. But what does it mean if there is less competition? Well, it means you're not having to put in an offer on a house where there's a lot of people competing with you for that particular house. Usually that means driving up the price. You also virtually have no appraisal risks. So if you are planning to use a lower amount down, this is the perfect time to do it. So VA loans, FHA loans, 10% down, 5% down options, 15% down options. You may be able to even be fortunate to have a contingent on sale success like I did recently. So there's a lot of people finding success right now because they were not in a strong financial position before, but they were always able to buy from a income perspective. But this is an opportunity where lower down payments are not a disadvantage. The other thing is that a lot of people are finding now is a good time to buy a house because there's not going to be as much stress when you buy that house. And by the way, sellers that are out there, we need to give you a shout out too and give a word out. While a lot of buyers are going to be out on vacation or being distracted, those that are actively buying right now are looking to buy homes. There's a lot less looky-loos right now and a lot less just neighbors visiting homes for no reason. So if you're looking to sell your house, we still have a number of sellers that have listed with us, and we're actively marketing the homes right now, especially before we lead into November. Because we tell you all the time, if you can get a good price for a house and at the same time move to your next place, which you may be able to get a good deal for, this may be a good time for you to accomplish that move. Another really good reason why now might be a really good time for you to buy a home is builders may have discounts and incentives to close out years. Builders have different goals and objectives to close out calendar years and book sales because many of them are public companies. I've seen some pretty amazing discounts that occur where in 6 months afterwards, home prices have gone up 10% in those same communities. Even if the price doesn't decline, they can still offer these different things that are not revealed publicly. They can offer closing cost credit, which is much more than other times of the year. By the way, to give you an idea, I've helped over 20 clients buy new construction homes, so do not go on your own. There is no extra cost for working with me, and we can go over a game plan to see what is the best community that works for you, along with what are those best builds that are in place. Next, another positive reason to buy right now, interest rates, as I mentioned before, has already gone down over the last couple of weeks. You don't see too many media outlets for this, given election season is already in full swing. we've already seen the trend where mortgage news daily rates have gone from 7.5% to now 6.1% in the last few months alone. It looks like it's going to continue drifting down over the next couple of months. This means it's a lot more affordable to afford that monthly payment or to be able to afford an even bigger house than what you're expecting. So now let's move on to the cons. Why you maybe don't want to buy a house at the end of the year. We've touched it on already. It's an election year. There's so much confusion out there, and there's going to be a whole lot more. Because at the end of the day, each of the candidates are going to spew why America is great, why America is doing so poorly, what kind of plans that they have, what kind of tax deductions they have. Maybe they'll do some housing updates. You may have seen Kamala Harris say something about a $25,000 potential credit or a program for first-time buyers. Who knows if that will even occur, and will that even pass Congress? So this video, we're not going to go over all these hypothetical things because you just don't know if that's going to happen yet or not. So there's no real point to really go down that road. But if you're someone that's impacted by confusion and just uncertainty, and you feel like this is going to be like a house flip, and if prices go up or down in the next year, you're going to feel really bad, then this is not the time, this is not the market for you, right? Like people that buy homes, they should be owning the homes at least 3 to 5 years in the minimum for the Bay Area. And generally people that last that kind of time will be successful. So if that's the case, you may just want to wait and see what happens. And then if the things are good and the economy is good, then you can just go into the market as all the other people that are waiting too. So another con why you may want to wait to buy a house, usually in November, December, January, we see 7 times less new homes come on the market during this period. Most sellers are not going to be putting their homes on the market. Therefore, you're going to have a lot fewer options to look for and decide on. So if you're a really particular or very specific kind of buyer, on one end, you can just continue to passively look. You're not going to be that busy. On the other end, you may not be successful finding it. This is a time and market for those that have broader requirements, that instead of finding this kind of perfect home, they make their great home turn into a perfect home. So these are some of the reasons why the last half of 2024 might not be a good time to buy a home. But what are the pros of waiting until spring of 2025 then? Well, the first one is that the election season will be over. The economy may settle down a little bit. We really don't know, but it may. There will likely be more stability because there's way less saber rattling right now in the terms of Democrats versus Republicans. But at the same time, you also want to be mindful that regardless of who comes into power, there are many forecasts that home prices will increase next year while interest rates will decline. So be mindful that home prices do not stay stagnant over time. Another good reason to wait, while inventory levels may or may not improve, there will be more homes that come on the market. A lot more people will be more inclined to prepare their home during the winter and sell in the spring. So again, if you're very specific about what you want in your home, you will have more options to choose from by increasing your odds and finding the perfect home in the springtime. But be mindful, it's not all sunshine and roses. Spring 2025 could also be one of the most competitive real estate markets we have seen in years, with rates already down. Because this is what usually happens after the election is over. Just see what happened in 2021 after the last election. It was also a very competitive year. Lots of people are buying homes and spending higher prices for homes. You will probably face bidding wars, higher prices, appraisal risks, and decisions are clearly going to have to be made very, very quickly. Homes in the Bay Area traditionally sell weekly after coming on the market. So you got to be precise, you got to be confident, and you always got to give it your best to get yourself into a place and then not have to worry about it for years later. So in conclusion, whether you're thinking about buying or selling, don't wait until the last minute to get your finances in order and get your pre-approval done. I have great lenders depending on the purchase amount that you're looking for. Reach out to me, and my contact details are below, 408-547-4590, and we can go over a game plan together, whether now or in the future is going to be the best move for you. See you in the next video. Bye now.